007, turn right, heading 185, reduce speed 180 knots.
185 on the heading, 180 on the Takeoff Air 007.
Speedbird 124, reduce speed 160 knots to 40 me.
Reduce 160 to 4, speed 124.
Hello there guys, Matt here, hope you're all well, and welcome back to a P3D video that isn't a shared cockpit or a Twitch live stream or anything random like that. Back to the full flight videos which I promised I would bring back on a kind of infrequent basis. We are on the ground at Manchester. This is a new UK2000 Manchester. I don't know if you can see, it's a bit dark. There's shadows in P3D because of the clouds make it look a bit gloomy and a bit dark, but this is the latest offering from UK2000, version 3 of UK2000 Manchester, and we are in the FSLabs Airbus A320, which you've seen on my channel, but you've not actually seen me sit down and kind of talk you through it properly. It's just been some highlights of a live stream. And this coincides nicely with the fact that Orbx brought out their Orbx Innsbruck scenery. Came out about 3 or 4 days ago. The scenery is by a guy called Jared Marshall, and it is quite possibly the best scenery that has ever been made for flight sim, period. I don't think I've ever seen a scenery as detailed, as good in performance, as good in VAS. It's just incredible. So we're going to take this Monarch Airlines Airbus 320 from Manchester over to Innsbruck. This is a real flight, albeit sometimes they use an A321, but sometimes they use a 320. This is Monarch 502 down to Innsbruck. So, this is a full flight video, and from previous full flight videos that I've done before, you know, I just kind of speak about what we're doing, tell you about weights and figures, say I've loaded it all up, and away we go. And that's usually the easiest way to go. But I've decided to do it a little bit differently. Because I'm doing these on a pretty infrequent basis, I figured I'd show you every single step that I take in order to get this thing from A to B. Or in fact, any aircraft from A to B, normally the steps are about the same. Unless you're flying GA or Concorde or something like that, which is a completely different setup. But for the majority of airliners, this is how we do it. And there's an Air Canada Rouge pushing back from the end of Terminal 2. This, by the way, this new AI traffic you see, which you've probably never seen in videos before. I'm not on VATSIM, I'm offline. But, oh look, the Virgin's pushing back as well. This is the new offering from Flight 1. This is Ultimate Traffic Live, came out also a few days ago. And I've been using it now for 2 or 3 days, and it's actually pretty nice. There's missing some airliners' liveries, and a few models as well, and it's just got very light all of a sudden. It's pretty weird. But apart from that, it's pretty nice. I mean, apart from this sort of spinning of aircraft when they've finished the pushback, it's got some pretty cool features, like if it's parked up at the gate, the doors open and the jetways dock to the planes and stuff like that. But it's just nice to have a bit of environmental factor going on in the video. So the AI isn't at 100% or anything like that, but it'll do for now. Anyway, I digress. So, I want to show you the whole process that I take from starting the sim to flight planning to actually flying the flight. So the first thing, obviously, I don't need to show you, is figuring out where you want to fly. I like doing real flights, so I go on Flight Radar 24, and I'll click an airport that I fancy, and I'll see what's going out that day, and I'll see if I have scenery, and I'll also see if I have an aircraft that matches. Luckily enough, today's flight in the Monarch is exactly real, so they take 502 out, albeit a couple of hours earlier than this. It goes out at 10 in the morning, but whatever, we'll just pretend we're delayed. Once I've figured that out, then I come into the sim, I load up on whichever stand. To get the stand, I just Google the flight number. Google is very good nowadays at giving you the stand number, so if you just Google the flight number or the call sign, in this case ZB502, it will tell you that it's on Terminal 2 at Manchester. It didn't actually give me the specific stand, but 211 is fine by me. I know they park on this side of Manchester Airport anyway, so that's okay. So once I found the flight number, I know where I'm going, and I'm parked up on the stand, and everything is cold and dark and shut down, and we're ready to commence our planning. I open up PFPX. Now PFPX, you will have seen before, is a flight plan or a bit of flight planning software from Flight SimSoft, I think the company is called. I'm probably wrong about that, but there's no way to find out. And you can see it on the screen now. This is what it looks like when you first open it. There's a map on the right hand side you can see moving around, and then you have a blank pane on the left. You have to add the flight. So it's as quick and as painless as clicking flight in the top left, typing in the IATA code, which for this is ZB. That will automatically fill it out if it knows it. If it doesn't, then you have to do it yourself. So ZB502, we're just going to change this to Mon 502 Monarch. And we're going from Manchester, and then it'll populate the map, and we're also going to Innsbruck, which is LOWI. So this will autofill the runway, depending on winds and stuff like that. It takes a lot into consideration. And then, of course, you need to select your aircraft. So I'm just going to check in the database. I have a lot of aircraft in my database. I need Golf Oscar Zulu Bravo Yankee. It's right here. If you don't have an aircraft, then you can always add an aircraft. It's really easy to do. Just press new and then go to new aircraft, and you'll be presented with this aircraft editor sort of pane. And it's just the same as if I went to edit this aircraft. So you can see I put the registration and tail number. It's an A320. It's got CFM 5B4 engines. This is a profile that's on the FSLabs forum. You can get this, download it for the for PFPX, and it will work perfectly with the FSLabs. All of the equipment is done for you, and there is no remarks. So that's the aircraft that we're using. So I can close that, and I can just press apply, and now you'll see that this is the aircraft that we're using. So once we've done that, we can just hit random payload. You can adjust the payload at the top here if you're not happy with what they've given you. They've given us at the moment 122 passengers, 3 children, 1 infant. Again, you can just spam random if you really want it to be random, and see what you get out of it. I'm looking for quite a high payload. That's okay. 139, 2 children, and no screaming infants, which is nice. After that, click Find Destination Alternates. Now this is a bit hit and miss. I don't really use it that much, but it kind of finds weird and wonderful alternates. Like Innsbruck, you probably wouldn't use any of these, to be honest, as an alternate. You might use Munich, but the chances are that you would probably end up using somewhere like Salzburg or somewhere like Zurich or Geneva or somewhere like that. It tends to pick the very obscure small airports, which, whatever. But I just press that and I leave it to it. Then you can press Find Route. Now, the route planning by majority is okay. Sometimes it gets it a little bit wrong, and there are ways to validate the route within PFPX even. But for now, again, we just want sort of a cheap and nasty route to get us there, and I'm completely okay with this. So Listo down through Honolulu, and then kind of southeast UK over the north of France, and then cutting across a small bit of München airspace. You can see just here, and then eventually into Innsbruck by the Madeb 1 Bravo arrival, which is coming in from the west, or from the actually from dead west, which is interesting. I'm pretty sure that normally, if from what I remember, going into Innsbruck you actually come over the top and going through a place called Tulsi. But we'll make it work. It really is no problem. If I was on VATSIM, which I'm not, then I would probably be a little bit more careful about the route planning that I decide to do. But for now, it's fine. So we can just hit Compute Flight, and you'll see it computes it with no problems. Hit Release Flight, and then you can print the flight plan to Adobe PDF. Once upon a time, I actually printed this to my neighbor's wireless printer, which was really awkward to explain, but it is what it is. That will then give you a place to print it. This is a checklist for EasyJet. It's wedding photos. You don't want to see those. So we can save that to the desktop, and then that will print us a nice PDF off. Now once it's done that, which it has done, the PDF is on my other screen, which I'll bring it across. You can see that this has given us everything we need. If it would actually stop lagging, there we go. This is giving us everything we need. This is just using the PFPX flight plan format even. That's difficult to say. You can change it to other airlines if you wish, but this is a standard format. So on the right here, this is what you're interested in, your planned 0 fuel weight. You're also looking down here at your release fuel. So we're taking 6 tons of fuel. That's for 2 hours and 45 minutes of flying. It's going to take us 1 hour and 41 to get there. So this is the required trip fuel. This is how much we have to at least take off with, so 6.5 tons, and we're going to take 6.6 tons. So that's pretty much it. There's a bunch of other stuff you can read into if you really want. It's saying use cost index 12, which we'll do. And then there's some weather information. There's also some route information. Like, for example, if you went to the ING VOR or the BIG VOR, you'd know it was called Biggin, etc., etc. It's good for flying in unfamiliar places, because then at least you know that, for example, TRA is Trasendingen, which I assume is some sort of German VOR or something like that. Underneath, it can give you winds for various places. So at Biggin, you can see the winds and the temperature also, which is pretty nice. That's good for the MCDU. A little bit later on. This is your ATC flight plan, so this is what would be sent to air traffic control if you're on Pilot Edge or VATSIM or IVAO. You can decode this if you wish. I mean, it's really relatively simple. This is your call sign. This is your aircraft type. This is all the equipment stuff. This is the fact we're departing Manchester at 12:15 Zulu. We're going at 426 across the ground and flight level 350. And then this is the route. There's the arrival into Innsbruck, an hour and 41 minutes later. That's the alternate. And then this is some remarks to do with the aircraft and to do with the routing. And then this is how much fuel that we have tankered. So 2 hours 35 minutes worth of fuel. Coming down, this is the METAR and the TAF for Manchester, which is something that we need to look at. So 280, 11 knots. So we're going to be using the southwesterly runways, which should probably be 23 right. Pressure's quite high, temperature's underneath 10, but there's no rain, so anti-ice won't be required. Later on, actually, there's some light showers, but at the moment we're fine. Into Innsbruck, the wind is quite calm, 09004, and it's varying between 040 and 140. We can check this a little bit later on down the line, but it's just giving us some nice information for planning the actual flight. Here, if we turn the, if we rotate it clockwise, and then if I just make this bigger so you can actually see it, and we'll zoom in, you can see this is the wind chart for the route. Nothing actually that's screaming at me. That's usually, if it's red, it's not good, but it's fine. It's very, very nice flying conditions, pretty much all the way. We are going at 350, so it will give you the weather for, I think, 3 levels below and 3 levels above, or maybe 4 levels below, 4 levels above, I can't remember. 31, 35, 39, so yeah, 4 levels above, and there you go. So that's everything. So if I rotate this back to the other way, like that, and then we have the flight plan, apparently upside down. How do I get this back? Where is it? Please. Maybe one more. There we go. Now we've got the flight plan. Okay, so back to PFPX. I need to do a few things before we close this down. First thing I need to do is to export everything to ActiveSky. So you can see here in ActiveSky, you can see here even, that I'm exporting it to P3D folder, P3D version 3 folder. The route name is EGCC LOWI01, which is fine. It's going to the P3D folder, and of course this is the documents folder it's going to. So all I need to do is send it to that, like this, so save it there. And then I can go into ActiveSky 2016, got a flight plan. If it would not crash, that would be really cool. Sometimes it does this, the UI gets a bit broken, but it's really easy to get rid of. Just go to your task manager and boot it out, and then we'll restart it. I don't know why it does it. The actual program itself is still running, but nothing else. So flight plan, load, and then we're in the documents folder already. We'll find Manchester to Innsbruck, which is not that one, it's that one right there. You could actually just sort them by date modified, and then you get it at the top like that. And then this is us with weather loaded into ActiveSky to more accurately represent the weather on our route, which when it actually starts up and shows you the map, you'll see how very cloudy it is, which is pretty accurate considering if you look outside, you can see the clouds are in the sky and doing their thing. Okay, so that's all set. We can minimize that. If you wanted to send it to VATSIM or something like that, this is the button to do that there. I'm not on VATSIM today, so that's fine. And that is pretty much everything done. A kind of quick and easy, cheap way of planning your flight with PFPX. There is a hell of a lot more to this program, things like CFMU validation and route validation and stuff like that, but that's for another day. So that's how I do the flight planning. So moving on, PFPX out of the way, and we've got the flight plan up. I'm just going to move that to another page. The next thing on the list is to set up the aircraft as far as the fuel and the weights go. Now the FSLabs is pretty cool in the fact that it integrates with GSX to be able to fuel itself and also to add passengers and baggage. So if we head into the VC, nice ambient noise from the air conditioning there, and we'll turn the batteries on. It's already on external power, nav light's already on. We've not really done much else, and we need to go down to the FMC. I have a key press and chase plane for that. If we go to options and we go to payload, and then we need to set the 0 fuel weight, which I did say before was 61.2. So we put that in, top left, 61.2, and then return. Now, if we go to the init page, and then we go init B, which is this side, and we put the block fuel in of what we need, which is 6.6, like so, and we look at our upper ECAS, is it called? I don't know, I can't remember the name of it. Upper ECAM, there you go, ECAM. You'll see we've got 5,000 kilos. Now we need 6.6, or 6,600 kilos. And what we can do now is we can call GSX. So we'll say to GSX, we want refueling. And then we are going to wait for the other services to complete, apparently. Let me just see if they're ready to go. Yes, they are. So if we go down to the MCDU, we'll go to MCDU menu, and we will close the doors so that the caterers disappear, and we'll see that happen in real time. They're still doing stuff with the baggage, although I've not actually requested boarding just yet. I don't quite know what they're doing, but anyway, the caterers are going to go, and then once the caterers have gone, then the fueler guy will come over, and there's a Thompson taxiing in. Hello there. How cool. Thompson 737. Someone's taxi. Oh look, there's a bit of a queue over there. Ah no, there's two aircraft landed. A Thomas Cook and a Flybe. Crash 8. Don't you love a good Crash 8 in your life? Anyway, back to the fueling scenario. So caterers have disappeared. If we press Control W, you'll see that it's not quite ready. It's not quite recognized that it's disappeared. It's also driving through my winglet, which is not appreciated, but there you go. Once it's gone, you can see catering services completed, and it will then start the whole fueling stuff. It's waiting for your action. Close left aft cabin door. Okay, we'll do that. So let's go to the doors, and then we'll close left aft cabin door. I'm not quite sure why they want you to close the left aft cabin door for that. I mean, it's just fueling. Really weird. However, we can go sit by the wing, or the left wing, and the fueler will come and fuel us up. Now, in the last update of GSX, oh look at that! Goodbye, Virgin. I thought I'd never say that in my life. Okay, I keep getting sidetracked. The fueler in the last update of GSX has changed. Here he is over here. You can now set it to custom fuel your aircraft, and it will actually pull up to the aircraft, and it will put the hose up into this bit of the wing here, like that, and it will fuel your aircraft in real time, and it will actually show you how much fuel it's putting on said aircraft. And I'll show you that when he eventually gets here, but he's taking his time. And I swear, if he goes to that Thompson instead of us, I will be sad. We are being fueled by Texaco, apparently. Oh, no, he's turning over here. Nice. Actually, I might be able to show you the AI jet bridge docking. You see it moving there? It docks to the air bridge, docks to the side of the plane, and then the doors open on the plane. Would be cool if you could get ground services and stuff, but at least that's a neat feature. I've never seen that before with AI. Maybe other people have, but I definitely haven't. There's the Virgin in the right turn. Okay, so here comes the fueler guy. And you'll see now that the fueling panel opens, the guy sort of lifts up, and then the hose will attach itself to the underside of the wing. And because we've set the figure in the MCDU, it now knows what to fuel to. So there goes the hose, and you'll see this number on here now will start to increase. There we go. So it says please use the refueling system of your aircraft to refuel. Now hopefully, if everything goes right, it should start to refuel. Let me just check the MCDU to make sure that I actually did put it in. I'm pretty sure I did. Yeah, 6.6. Maybe you have to put it in once he's here. There we go. It's doing it. It was already doing it. So this is in, as far as I know, this is in gallons. So you can see it's 42 gallons, 127 kilos. So it's got to go all the way up to 6,600 kilos, which you can do the math. I don't really care right now to do that sort of math. But it kind of takes a long time. It's real time. It's real time fueling. So we'll leave it doing its thing, and we'll start prepping the flight deck for our departure to Innsbruck. So we will set the pressure, which is 1032. If you remember, that was in the METAR. It's cross-checked on both sides. And we can set the standby altimeter to 1032 as well. Actually need to zoom in on that because I can't see it. 1032, cool. Overhead panel, first thing to do, IRSs, not IRSs, ADIRSs to nav. Flick all three of them on. We can go down to the MCDU, press the init button, and then we can do all of the init stuff. Now, purposely didn't show you this because it's time to go back to PFPX. And I actually did say that you can close PFPX, and I was kind of lying a little bit there because I completely forgot. But if you go back to PFPX and you can see your flight from before, you can see here, and if you go to click on it and then press print flight plan, and in the drop down menu you will see Flight Sim Labs AOC uplink. Click that, press OK, go back to your aircraft, and then look what happens. It fills it all out for you. It's fantastic. So I don't have to spend half an hour programming the MCDU. It's already done. It's put the cruise altitude in. It's put the cost index wrong, but that's fine. It just does a standard of 20. We can change that to 12. That's no problem. And if we go to init B, you can see 0 fuel weight 61.1, 27.5 the center of gravity, and the block is 6.6. It even puts the departure in, so you can see 23 right, Listo 2 Romeo, all the way down to as far as Innsbruck, and I'm pretty sure that it will also do the arrival if PFPX has done the arrival, and that's all data from PFPX. It actually passes the PFPX data. You see here, this is the MADEB 1 Bravo arrival into Innsbruck. So we've done that. Next, it's time to go to the performance page, and we'll do all of the flex and the flaps and stuff like that. So for today's flight, we are using flaps 1, and the trim setting is 0.5 up. So that's set in there. Flex attempt today is flexing to 58, so we can put 5.8 in there. Thrust reduction is 1,500 feet, and we're going to accelerate at 3,000 feet. Engine out can also go to 1,500 feet. Transition altitude is 5,000 feet, and then we can just click all of the speeds and let it do it itself. Because I mean, the calculation, the program that I use to calculate this stuff, it gives different speeds, but I'd rather trust the programmers of this aircraft and use their speeds than use a program's speed, because it kind of feels a bit weird to use not the thing that was well, not the thing that's in front of you. I need to turn the right MCDU on, which I'm just doing now, and then I'm going to put this on the flight plan page. So there we go. So distance is 680 miles, an hour 38 minutes, and we're going to land with 2.1 tons of fuel, which is pretty perfect. I'll dim that a bit, it's too bright. Let's have a look how much the fuel is getting on. Oh, wow, he's done and he's gone. So let's check the fuel. Perfect. Fuel is 6.6. Fueling is done. We should have actually turned the seatbelt signs on. Oh, no, we shouldn't actually. We should have kept them off while he was fueling, which is good. We can now turn the seatbelt signs on, and we can also turn the fuel pumps on too, because he is out of the way. Beautiful. Okay, we'll set up some FCU stuff. So initial climb is 5,000 feet. Everything's pushed in. It's all managed. That's what we need. I'm going to turn the left side to arc, bring the range in, and stick constraints on. Other side can go to arc. It can stay at what it wants. And you can have terrain over there, and I'll have weather radar on my side. Alright, so we're almost ready to go. I'm going to request boarding now, so that's the next thing on the list. And because we've set the 0 fuel weight, what you'll see is that now we've requested boarding. If we go back to the MCDU menu and go to options and go to payload, you'll see it's emptied the aircraft, and now it's going to fill it up to what I pre-selected. So it's kind of simulating boarding, and you'll see as the aircraft gets heavier, the suspension of the aircraft kind of shakes around a little bit, and it's very realistic. It's very nice. So that is that. We can turn the APU on now, which is up the top here. So APU master switch goes on, and then you'll see on the lower ECAM the APU page will come on. We're waiting for the flap open sign before we actually push the starter, which is it'll happen in just a moment. There we go, flap open, and then we can press the start switch to on. Now that will take varying amounts of time. I think it's all dependent on like temperature and stuff like that, but it's not just a 2-second job. You can see it's at 20% M1, and it needs to continue to climb all the way up, and eventually it will say that it's available, and then we can come off external power. You can hear just the random dings in the background. That's just FSLabs' kind of immersion of sound. It doesn't really mean anything. It's just the cabin in real life. If you hear that ding, it's usually one end of the cabin calling the other end of the cabin if they, if they need something, or just fancy a bit of a chat if they're bored. I'm sure they do that. So we'll see what's going on out front. Are they done with the bags yet? The boarding process is quite long. I mean, GSX doesn't really do bags and people at the same time. It seems to do bags last and people first, but it tells you either way. So it says boarding passengers now. I do not see the baggage carts anywhere in sight. I do. They're here. Here they come. All of these have to be loaded onto the aircraft before it's done, and that in itself can take a little bit of time. At this point, I don't know if they'd have the APU on. Probably not. You can see now that the APU is available. The green light says avail, which means that we don't need to do anything other than disconnect the external power, which we can do now. You can hear the audible change as well. It's something that FSLabs have done very well with the immersion. We can go to the MCDU menu now, and we can get rid of the GPU, and we can also remove the nose wheel steering pin as well, because otherwise we ain't going anywhere. The ground trucks can stay in for the moment because, again, the aircraft is still being boarded, and we don't want anyone being hurt as a result of not being secure. You can see the chocks are down here on the wheels. And I mean, actually, if we show you the gear just while everything's boarding, the attention to detail on this thing is fantastic. If I zoom in, look at this. You can actually read the chart on the texture of the gear. It's on all of the gears. In fact, it's on most of the aircraft. It's not just the gear. You can see here, parking brake after towing. Bring the wheels back to the center position. Caution, the twin wheels even may come back to the center position on resetting the towing on engine start. I don't know what that means. There's a light test button there, but the point is you can read stuff, and it's really quite beautiful. Same if we head over to the engine, and you can see on the engine cowling as well. It says here, warning, stand clear of hazard areas while engine even is running. I thought that would be pretty obvious, but whatever. Engine is windmilling at the moment, and before where the guy was fueling, You can see it says there, if we spin the camera around, it says jet fuel. Max pressure is 50 psi, 5 bars, max suction 11 psi, 8 bar. Whatever that means. I'm not a fueler, I don't understand it. So yeah, the level of detail in this aircraft is just beyond anything I've ever experienced. And it's long awaited. I mean, we waited, what, 6 years for it, so it was one of those things where when it released I was like, this better be bloody good, otherwise I'm going to be severely disappointed, but they definitely delivered. It was definitely worth the wait. Just come over here and you can even see here the signs for the static ports you can read, and the inlet valve there, or the intake valve, the airflow intake valve, as well as all the signage on it is completely readable. Same for the static port here, or the standby static port. I really wish I knew more about this aircraft to explain what everything does, but I don't. If I had Yun here, for those of you that watch my stream, you know who Yun is. He's like a walking textbook when it comes to this aircraft. He's very, very knowledgeable. But I don't, so there you go. Anyway, the pallets have been loaded. The passengers boarded, baggage loading in progress. So we're just waiting for this now. So what we can do is we can head down to the MCDU. Actually, we can use any MCDU. I don't know why I always go for the right one. And we can start to shut the passenger doors, because we don't need them anymore. And we can also remove the jetway. We'll put this back to the perf page. You'll see the jetway is moving away very, very slowly. Still quite a lot of pallets to load, but so one more left on that, and then 2 more left on this. Just takes a while for them to load it. Actually, we could just go sit in the hold and see what's going on in here. You can hear the sound change as well, dynamically based around where you are in the aircraft. See, if you go back outside, you see the engine sound, oh sorry, the aircraft sounds change. It's really, really nice. If I go on the wing view, now we're in the cabin, you can hear the cabin noise. If we go outside and away from the cabin, so we're outside of the walls of the cabin, then the sound completely changes, which I think is fantastic. There's the right wing. See the pallets being loaded, Swissport pallets apparently. Anyway, so back to the flight deck. We will prepare for push and start, and then once the services have finished from the right hand side of the aircraft, then we'll get the prompt to be able to push back. Don't really need to do anything else at the moment, just chill out. Set the transponder if you want, 2000, and it wants to be on, and standby, like so. The baggage for the back's gone. Just waiting on the baggage for the front, or the pallet for the front. Got myself a new chair. I got a DX Racer tank. It was very comfortable, but I keep having rearranging it because I sit in one place for too long and my knees are not locking up. But it's nothing to do with the chair. It's just to do with being fat. So don't get fat, kids. Not worth it. All right. So while this is just doing its thing, let's have a look at the charts. Something that I've not shown on any of my videos. This is Navigraph Charts. This is a paid subscription service. Has pretty much all of the charts in the world. To search for an airport, you just type in the code at the top here, and we're using Manchester. So if we look at the APC chart, which is the parking chart, we are on stand 211. I zoom in. You'll see that we are here just on taxiway Delta, right there. We want to go to runway 23 right, so we're going to be taxiing. We're going to push back. We're going to face south east. We're going to taxi down Delta and then follow Delta all the way through like this, down here as far as taxiway Kilo, and then left on Kilo, and then that's going to join taxiway Juliet, and then we're going to go all the way to the end to Juliet 1. I actually have not taken off 23 right on this scenery. So I don't know if this area here is modelled correctly, but that's the way we're going to go. As far as the departure goes, we'll check out the SIDS page. So we're on the Listo 2 Romeo. No, Listo 2 Yankee, I can't remember. Romeo or Yankee, which one? Easy way to find out. Open up page 1 of the charts, and you'll see this is for runway 23 left, so that's the wrong one. This is also for 23 left. There's 23 right. So Listo 2 Romeo, DME Manchester left turn, DME 2 from Manchester left turn to a heading of 163 to intercept the radial 340 Honolulu inbound to Listo. The initial climb is all I'm worried about. It's 5,000 feet, which we already set. So that's pretty much what we're going to do. So we got the departure initial altitude, we got our taxi routing. All we need to do now is shut all of the other doors, and we'll get underway. So prepare for push and start. We want to go nose right, tail left. We are not starting engines before pushback, and we can go and close all the doors. So MCDU menu, doors, close, close, close. You can actually hear them closing. Can you hear that? It's beautiful. External controls. We can remove the chocks now, as long as the parking brake is set, which it is. So we'll disconnect the chocks now. We'll go back to the perf page. We're about to move, so the beacon light can go on. See it from the outside. The tug's just connecting. The beacon light is on. We've got nothing in the way. And it's now locking gear. And this is where the fun really starts with the FSLabs. Things that they've included that you just would not even imagine. Just waiting for the handbrake to be put on. Here we go. Okay, parking brake is now released. And we can start the timer. And it's a pretty long taxi out to runway 23, right? So we'll do something called a one-engine taxi, which means we're only going to start engine number 1, and then once we get a little bit closer to the runway, then we'll fire up engine number 2. So we'll fire the, we'll turn the ignition switch to start, and then we will right-click to lift the master switch, and then left-click to push it up, which is what happens. And forgot to turn the APU bleed on. That's how good I am. So yeah, APU bleed is a must for the engine start, and you'll see now that engine 1 will come to light, or life even, on the pushback. There it goes, spinning up. Now, if I go down here and I turn on the PA and turn the volume up on said PA, if I can find the click spot. Sometimes it's pretty difficult to do. There we go.
All washrooms are equipped with smoke detection systems, which will activate automatically.
How cool is that?
The cabin crew will now point out the nearest exits in your area. It is important to remember that the nearest
So for each individual airline, as long as you can source the safety demonstration file, which are relatively easy to get hold of thanks to YouTube nowadays, you can have your own PA on your aircraft. Parking brake set. And if you're on ATC and you need to call them and you don't want to listen to it anymore, just turn it off. Also, if you go over the wing in the cabin,
red inflation tube to top up with air. A light and whistle are used for attracting attention.
excellent. Okay, so engine 1 is started. We are going to turn off the APU bleed because we don't need it anymore. Because we're doing a one-engine taxi, we need to turn on the yellow electric hydraulic pump, which is up here, and that's turned on now. That fault light will go away. You'll hear the noise of the hydraulics, and that's pretty much everything good. We can turn the ignition back to normal, and we can start doing the after-start flow. So, flaps, we're coming down to 1.
Parents or guardians must set their own mask before helping.
knocked my speed brake lever, but never mind.
Upright. Your tray table
You'll see the
is
flaps come out now.
and your window blind is open.
He says.
Belt must now be fastened and adjusted.
Flaps 1. There we go.
Eight into the buckle and twist clicks. Pull the strap for a secure fit. To
There we go.
unfasten,
We can do a control check, so all the way to the left,
if the command
all
is
the way
brake,
to the right,
you should adopt the following
and then
brake
fall
position.
up and fall down. Rudder left, rudder right, and the trim is 0.5, so we just need to set that. 0.5, perfect, like so. And we are pretty much in a situation where we can taxi. Now we are one engine, so we leave the APU on for the moment. So taxi lights on, turn off lights on, and we are good to make our way out to runway 23 right. Now this thing has a tiller that's actually modelled. So to use the tiller, you need to press the comma key, which will activate the tiller. Now note, unless you have, in fact I'm going to show you this because I know a lot of people will say, oh, it's not working. If you go to options, page 3, controls, rudder pedals, this needs to be turned on. This pedals disconnect button sticky needs to be turned on. Otherwise, you can't just press the comma key once. You have to hold it when you want to turn, and it's a pain. So, all you do is, if you see now, when I turn my rudder, the rudder actually moves, the pedal moves. If I press the comma key and then turn, the tiller now moves. And that's what we want. So that's something that a lot of people get confused on, and that's how you get around it. Okay, so parking brake released. We're off the stand at 20 minutes past. I just accidentally went into reverse, which is now fixed. And a bit of power. Need quite a lot of power actually. It models single engine taxi exceptionally well. I don't know if you've ever tried to do single engine taxi in any other aircraft, but it's an absolute nightmare. It does it really, really well in the FSLabs. None of this trying to spin round in circles if you put too much power on. You can feel it kind of slide a little bit, but it's nothing like any of the other aircraft I've tried to do single engine taxi in. So, we're on taxiway Delta. In front of us is Delta 7, just behind where that Ryanair is. We're going to turn right, and we're going to head on to, well actually we're going to continue on Delta down past Terminal 1, and then cut across Terminal 3 on taxiway Kilo, then Juliet to where the airport pub is, and then we'll be there, ready to go. The immersion of the engines, the engine sounds, the ambient sounds, and the way it models the ground friction and the ground dynamics is just superb. You need to keep on top of this aircraft, otherwise it will bite you, and it will bite you hard, and you really don't want that to happen. So we're taxiing about 12 knots, it's reasonably okay. Turning corners at 12 knots is a little bit too aggressive, but never mind. There's an aircraft down there which I can see just coming up Delta, which I think is actually a Monarch. I think we have a company aircraft here coming towards us. Let me just hold up, there's an aircraft landing. I really hope that aircraft is not landing on 23 left, because that is not realistic. This is a problem with AI traffic. If they get it wrong, it just messes up everything. But no, we're good. We're good. So the Monarch is going to come to Terminal 2. So what we'll do is we'll take this right here, which is taxiway Quebec. You can see it's stopped for us. But if we go this way, and then he should realise that we're going via Quebec, and then he'll carry on this taxi. Yeah, there you go. It's carrying on moving. Good stuff. The AI on this with Ultimate Traffic Live is actually quite smart. I've not been hit by anything yet, so I suppose that's a good thing. Why is there a random Ryanair just parked in the... and that's actually stamped 101. Well, I don't know why there's a Ryanair parked on it. It's pretty weird. There's a Monarch. It's an A321. Wait, is it? Let me check the tail. Yeah, it's an A321. There's the Thomas Cook maintenance hangar. I thought the A321s on Monarch were IAE engines. What do I know? Alright, so we'll start getting things ready to go. So auto brake max, spoilers are armed. We'll start the engine. We'll start engine number 2 once we're on the parallel of runway 23 right. So once we're on taxiway Kilo, then we'll start engine number 2. Yeah, there's some AI that landed on 5 left. Sorry, 23 left even. It's kind of ridiculous, but oh well, it is what it is. Now, this video is 45 minutes long at the moment, so I'm going to split it into 2 parts because I think we've gone over quite a lot in the first part. So this will be part 1. We'll get it into the sky, we'll get it on its way to Innsbruck, and then part 2 will be the arrival, because otherwise both videos, or if we do one video even combined, it's going to be like 2 hours long, and rendering that and uploading that is not going to be fun. So I'll split it into 2 parts. I know some people don't like 2 parts, but I don't understand why. It's just like watching one part but opening another video after you've watched the first one. It's really no inconvenience to you. It's just an inconvenience to me if I have to render like a 2.5 hour video. I tried it the other week with when we did the Dash 8 with Paul, and it's like people just ignored the second half, which is really strange. I mean, the second half contains the fun bit, right? The approach and the landing, or is that just me that likes the landing better than the takeoff? Alright, so here's the turning onto taxiway Kilo. Easy jet over there. There's some sort of aircraft taking off. I don't know what it is, but see the lights. Is that an Air France? Yeah, it's an Air France. Nice. Alright, let's have a look. What is it? It's a Flybe Embraer 195. Cool. Alright, we can start engine number 2. So flick it to start, and we'll turn it on. Oh, I forgot to turn the APU bleed on again. Rip. There we go. Thrust lever not idle. Now it is. Just let it roll while it starts. I actually don't think you need to turn the APU bleed back on, because you've got bleeder from engine 1, so why would you need to do that? Whatever. Let's have a look at the listen to that engine start as this Flybe takes off. There he goes. See you later. He's probably off to Southampton. Positive rate and gear going up. Alright, so engine number 2 is up. There you go. Gonna turn on the predictive wind shear to auto and the weather radar too. That means we'll get weather radar on my side. That's 2 good engine starts. Turn that back to normal. And we can turn the APU bleed off. We can turn the yellow elec hydraulic pump off. And we can also turn on... Oh, I've just completely blew the APU by doing that. Yeah, there you go. APU going off. Good. We can do a takeoff configuration test, but considering we just started engine number 2, it's the oil temperature is probably not going to be it's not going to be high enough. At the moment it's at 30. It needs to be above 45. So if we press takeoff config now, oh, it did it. Okay, never mind. I've clearly got that wrong. I thought it had to be above 45. Never mind. probably doesn't. I know I'll be corrected about that. I swear it was 45. What do I know? Okay. We are now fully configured. And there is some sort of, looks like a biz jet. But it's not. It's an A319. And why are they, I need to change the scheduler file so that they depart and arrive off runway 23 right. Because they never land on 23 left. Well, I've seen them do it like once when they were doing work on 23 right, but normally they use 23 right. There's a Flybe-8. The amount of times I've tried to park my car here to look through the fence at planes and been chased off by the airport people, like the people, the security, is not even funny. They hate it. They absolutely despise it. Alright. So have they actually modelled this area correctly? Yes, they have. Nice. It just goes all the way. So this should be Juliet 2 here. Yeah. Good. It's sort of right. It's not 100%, but it's okay. There's the airport pub there. So I'll turn on the transponder now so we can see any of the inbound traffic. Which there is none, or none I can see anyway. Okay, so we'll get the strobes, they can go to on, we can turn on the landing lights and we'll put the nose light to takeoff. We'll see the strobes flashing there. And then we'd get on the PA and we'd announce for the cabin crew to be seated for departure. Now at this point, if you're flying some other carrier that turned the packs off, you would do that now, but I don't think Monarch do packs off takeoff, so we'll just leave the packs on. There's the airport pub, been there many a time. And we'll line up and we'll get straight away on the way. Straight away on the way, it's not even English. We'll get going straight away. Okay, here we are, lined up on runway 23 right. It's identified. We'll keep it rolling. Everything's good to go. Disconnect the tiller. Now we're on rudder only. Alright, power's coming in. Timer set. Bit of pressure forward on the yoke. Or the stick. 50%. Stable. Man flex 58 SRS runway, auto thrust is blue. There's 100 knots. Center the side stick. SV1, rotate. Positive rate. Gear up, tap the brakes, nav's enunciated. Look at the wing view as we depart. Beautiful. 1,000 feet. We'll reduce at 1,500, so very shortly. But we'll follow the flight director. That's 1,500. Climb power is set. Thrust climb. Make the left-hand turn. It flies like an absolute dream. It's so nice. Look at that for a view. it round to the right a little bit. Hitting a bit of turbulence as we pass through the clouds. It's completely expected. We're accelerating now as we pass 3,000 feet. Alright, speed check, flap 0. So flaps going up. And the slats as well. Roll the wings level. It's relatively straight towards Listo now, so AP1's in. We'll disarm the speed brake, like so. We'll take the lights off because apparently they cause drag, and it's not night time, so it's fine. And we will reset flight level 350 on the FCU, and right click, open climb enunciated, thrust climb, open climb, 350 blue, and we will set standard once, twice, and 3 times. Beautiful. Going through some really quite dense cloud. Let's have a look at the wing view as we do that. Look amazing. Beautiful. Passing flight level 76. And we'll break through the cloud very shortly. It tops off at about 8,500 feet, so or flight level 85, according to the weather report that's in ActiveSky. So very soon you'll just see us break out, and it will be beautiful. There we go. There we go. That is beautiful. I love that. This is the best moment of climbing, when you just break through the clouds. It's so nice, considering how gloomy and nasty it was under the clouds. As soon as you come out the top, it's just phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. And there we are. We're through the clouds and we're climbing. Clear skies now ahead. And that's the end of part 1. I hope you enjoyed it. Part 2 will shortly follow. There's some traffic up there, you see the contrails, where we continue our flight down to Innsbruck. We're going to be flying one of the most ridiculously challenging approaches that exist, but it's going to be fun, so I hope you stick with me and watch that. If not, thanks for watching part 1. I hope you enjoyed the departure and the kind of in-depth of how I do things. And until part 2, I bid you all farewell. Ta-ra!